Okay, we're carrying on with this. Paper. Farmers sometimes use biological control. So you can use two types of control to reduce damage to crops or control pests. You've got biological, and you've got chemical. So this might be introducing, for example, ladybirds to kill off aphids, and this one might be just spraying chemicals to kill off aphids. Right, so you've got to know the two types of control. Right, what they're saying. Which of these is an advantage for using biological? It's not that. It doesn't lead to bioaccumulation. It is. Oh, well, I don't know if that's true actually. It could be a danger to other wildlife, but that's the answer they've given. Is specific. Well, the idea is specific, but then it can become a pest itself. Right, there you go, aphids, these little terrors. Aphid are tiny insects that have sharp mouth parts that push these mouth parts into the phloem. So remember there's two parts, there's the xylem and there's the phloem. Phloem moves food about and xylem moves water about. F for phloem, F for food. Yeah, and WX is water for the xylem. Right. Name two substances that are found in the phloem. So you're going to end up with sugars, and the one in plants you're going to find that's floating about is sucrose. Now watch this. They're saying reject starch because that doesn't flow around. That's just stored insoluble. And they're saying reject glucose. Right, and the other thing you'll find is amino acid. Right. I'll explain how aphids feeding on the phloem can lead to a reduction in yield. So that's another way of saying less crops. Yeah, yield, you want a high yield, And remember the example we gave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I've planted 10 seeds and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So my yield is 7 out of 10. And if I want to turn it into percentage, my yield is 70%. I want this to be as high as possible. I really want it 100%, but you're not going to get that. Right. Explain how aphids feeding will become the problem. So first of all, you're going to get less. So you have less. If they're feeding off the phloem, which is getting rid of sugar and amino acids, you're going to have less energy for respiration. If you've got less energy for respiration, that means less, you can then you use less energy available for active transport. you've got you can have less amino acids for growth. You're gonna have less seeds and less what do you call it, less, if you've got less sugar you can have less stored starch. So remember what we said, just remember this. So this is for a plant. The plant takes sugar, joins them together, right, and forms a molecule called starch, and then stores it as food for later. Right, now with humans or animals, we've got sugar in the form of glucose, glycogen, sorry, insulin joins them together and it stores it as glycogen and stores it in the liver and muscle cells for food for later. So now you've got less stored starch for food for later on, for food later on, in case something goes wrong. Yeah. So that means that there's going to be less growth, less chlorophyll. So that leads to less, so as a knock-on effect, less photosynthesis taking place. If there's less photosynthesis, there's less growth. So what does that mean? That there's going to be less flowers or asexual production like runners or tubers. So less plants. Right. Because you've got an open wound, you have more chance of infection getting in because they've made a and it'll spread from plant to plant, so more chance of infection off plant due to, what did they say here? Yeah, so the sharp mouth parts here, will cause an injury in that due to we'll call it open wound in plant. There you go. Right, so that's how you'd answer it. So basically just stems less food has a knock-on effect, less chloroplast, less growth, less photosynthesis, and you've got the other side where you've got an open wound which can cause infection. Right, silverflies and hoverflies. So here you've got a hoverfly which is dark, and then you've got a silverfly which is light. So these yellow ones are our silverflies now. So this is what they did. They wanted to check the feeding behavior. So they placed a single silverfly, single hoverfly. So that straight away tells you not good, because you need lots. One temperature, Count the number of aphids consumed each day for several days. Determine the mean number of aphids consumed per day. Okay. So, okay, they've repeated at different temperatures, but not at the same temperature. And you can see as the temperature increases, the number of hoverflies breed actually. So the breed and so the rate of they both increase as the temperature increases. So that means they're producing more larvae, and then the larvae will feed on the aphids. Okay, fair enough. Scientists concluded that hoverfly is the most effective for control of aphids. So we need to discuss using the information in the graph and the scientist method, and it's a 5 marker. It's a 5 marker. So we need to basically take all that and digest it. So first of all, we can see straight away, yeah, hoverflies. So hoverfly larvae eat more aphids, and just in numbers, yeah. As temperature increases, both flies eat more. Both flies eat more aphids. What else is there? Right. So if you look here, the greatest difference is there in terms of proportion. It's 1 to nearly 3. It's almost 3 times the difference. Whilst this is, it goes from nearly 2 to 4. Yeah, it's only about 2 times, and that is 1, 2, yeah, about 2 times as well. So the greatest difference is there. Right, so this is what we've observed. Now, what are the negative sides of this? We can say we spotted that early. Only one fly of each type used. So you've only used, look, one silverfly, one hoverfly. Right. Again, it is not in its natural environment, so the behavior might change. Because those flies might be wary of spiders, they might be wary of birds or other predators. So, and we've also said this, we've only used two species of fly. Right, some others might be more effective than that, so we don't know. So this is how you've got to try to answer these. This is a really good question, actually, because I've not seen it before. It's unusual. So look, we can put all these things here. Let me try to whoa, what's going on? Something's going on here, and it doesn't feel right. Right, let's do that then. Let's try to so all these we can write down here. We can write all these down here. If it eventually gets down here, we will get there. Right, okay. That's it, and then it's finished. Right, well done. That paper's done as well.